Jersey cows are becoming increasingly popular amongst dairy farmers around the world. It's one of only a few cattle breeds that are actually on the rise in terms of numbers of cows being bred. But why are modern dairy farmers embracing the Jersey cow? And what needs to be in place in order to have healthy and profitable Jersey cows that'll also be sustainable long term? To give us the best tips on how to breed Jersey cows for the future, I've invited a leading Jersey expert to join me at the studio. Peter Larson is the Senior Breeding Manager for VikingJersey and also the Executive Secretary of the European Jersey Association. This is the BreedCast produced by VikingGenetics. I'm your host, Louise Svane. Hi Peter and welcome.
Thank you very much.
Nice to see you.
Thanks
for joining us. So Peter, we're seeing that more and more farmers around the world are looking to breed Jersey cows. Why do you think that is?
I think it is because they see an alternative to what they've traditionally been using. The Jersey breed is a quite new breed. All the Jerseys originate from the Jersey Island in the channel between France and England. And they've spread all over the world, but slowly. And the reason for having Jerseys is that Jerseys are different than other breeds, size-wise and also on different traits. And that makes the cow interesting. When we started breeding Jerseys in Denmark, it was shortly after we started milk recording. And just of a sudden, farmers realized here is a breed that actually milks milk with higher levels of butterfat. We were not able to determine that exactly until we had the milk recording system. But shortly after, when having this information, the interest in Jerseys increased rapidly. And that started 125 years ago.
Wow. So why do you think we're seeing sort of a similar movement, similar trends in other parts of the world today?
It is because the special traits that characterizes the Jerseys. So it's not only that they are a bit smaller, they're more efficient, they have the high solids, they have better fertility than the bigger breeds, not only in numbers but also in size, and they are more healthy and long-living. So it fits well into this future sustainable breeding that all is striving to breed for.
What kind of reputation has Jersey cows had historically?
Well, they've been blamed for being too small, and some have been calling them goats. And I remember when I was a child, and we were the only ones. My parents had Jerseys. We were the only ones in the village having Jerseys. And when I went to agricultural school and university, bullied because we were working with goats. But they were efficient goats, and they were profitable goats. And so I live with it.
That's very cute. So now we're seeing this trend around the world. From your perspective, what problems out there could potentially be solved by switching to or increasing the number of Jersey cows?
If you focus on efficiency, then of course here is a smaller, very highly efficient cow, but not all determine or measure efficiency at this stage. So often it's because of fertility, poor fertility. It can be health problems. The Jerseys have stronger feet and legs. They do not weigh as much as a big Holstein cow, so you do not put that much weight on the feet of the cows, and then longevity as well. So there are some advantages breeding with the smaller cow, and in the end, the profitability of the cow is just as good as with a big cow.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of talk about climate and sustainability. Where is Jersey in terms of that?
We have done some trials in Denmark. We've done some trials on emissions. It can be nitrogen, it can be phosphorus, and we have realized that the Jerseys are approximately 20% better than big breeds on that. It can be methane, CO2. We've done some trials on that as well from milking robots, where we measure the breath of the cows, showing again approximately 20% less greenhouse gases per kilogram of milk produced from the Jerseys. Then again the feed efficiency, where the cows produce approximately 20% more per kilogram of dry matter intake of the cows. So both that they are more efficient in converting feed to milk and gives you higher efficiency, you also in that way indirectly affect the climate.
So let's try and look at what I need to do if I want to breed healthy and, as you said, profitable Jersey cows. Peter, you grew up with Jersey cows, as you mentioned, and you've ended up spending actually great parts of your career working with Jerseys. What made you, other than the fact that you grew up with them, what made you stay with them?
Well, of course, it matters quite a lot that I grew up with them. My grandparents on both sides also were milking Jerseys. But when I was younger, I actually had the farming education. I was working at several different farms, and also farms with big cows of other breeds. And I realized that the personality of the Jerseys, I like that a lot. They have more of personality. They are more individuals, but also the fact that they are 200 kilos smaller or way less. And when you're stepped on your toes by a big Holstein, it hurts quite a lot, and it can actually be difficult to push her away. A small Jersey, you can always push her away, and you won't get that hurt.
So when you go and meet with Jersey farmers around the world, because you've traveled for the past 30 years advising on Jersey, you're recognized as a leading expert on the matter, and you do work with farmers in just over 50 countries now. What are some of the first things that you recommend looking at when a farmer comes and tells you, I'd like healthier and more profitable Jersey cows?
I'm looking at the genetics that the farmer has been working with so far. I'm looking at the conditions he's working under, and then try to determine whether this is an optimal fit, what he has been doing so far, and then try to identify where we can do better or help him do better in selection of genetics that fits well for his milk pricing system, for the costs levels that he's working under, the environmental restrictions he might have, and the climatical conditions. So try to sum up under these conditions what would be optimal genetics to use for you. And that's very important to make the farmers realize. And sometimes we experience that farmers has not really set exact goals and strategies for their breeding in the herd.
What kind of environment and conditions are Jersey cows particularly suited for?
Well, I think they're suited for nearly all. They are hardy animals. They have a good climate resistance or heat tolerance. They work under very harsh conditions. You'll see them down under in the Australian heat, that they keep on grazing, whereas big cows stop grazing in the middle of the day. And you can see them under cold conditions up north here where we are coming from, that they are really hardy animals. It also relates to the size of the cow, the smaller cows, the strong hooves, the health genetics in them. They work well under all kinds of conditions.
In, for instance, the US and New Zealand, and I believe in Denmark as well, roughly around 13% of the total cow population our jersey are made up of jerseys. When the US, New Zealand, Australia, other countries around the world, they come to see you, why are they interested in the Viking Jersey bulls?
I think the main reason today is fertility. We have put a lot of emphasis on breeding fertile animals, and we are in the lead when you look at the genetic levels, compare across populations. And that's the main reason, but it is also for other reasons. We have always been breeding for high percentage of fat and protein in the milk, so that can be another reason. And then health. We have been able to breed very healthy animals. And this is a trend in those other countries as well. But that's not, in this I do not say that we can, or we are in the lead in all ways, in all trades. We are not, and we are striving to be in the lead, but constantly we check what bulls could we actually benefit from enrolling in our breeding program. So we have sires of sons from especially the US, but also from Canada and New Zealand, and we have a good tradition for combining these genetics from other parts of the world. And I could mention 3 examples. Way back we imported semen from New Zealand, and especially one bull, Glenmore Royal Guide, resulted in a bull called Fyn Twet, one of the leading bulls in our population. Leicester from US, the sire of Fyn Lemvik, and Imperial from Canada, the grandsire of Q Impulse. Bulls that are well known worldwide, actually part of them origin from those leading populations. So we are a mix, but still 2/3 of the genetics in our population is Danish, and then approximately 35% or a little more than 30% is North American, and then a little New Zealand. So we benefit. It's good that we breed in different directions, and then we can benefit from good genes from other populations.
And they're still purebred, right? All the Viking Jersey bulls.
Yes, and that's special. With our jerseys, back in 2009, we made a decision when we started genomic selection. We made a decision that the Danish jerseys or the Viking jerseys should be purebred. It was a tough decision to make, but it was the right decision to make, so that we avoid getting problems with what we call monogenetic traits or defects from other populations. So all the bulls that we market, they are 100% pure jerseys for 7 generations.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned earlier that this sort of data collection and tracking started taking place. Can you tell me a bit more about how did that start with the jerseys, and where is that today?
Well, it is so that we are actually able to estimate breeding values for all of economic importance, and it's due to the fact that there is a good tradition for registering everything in Nordic countries. So we'll see that a Danish farmer, he registers all what he can register on his herd. But also the same does the veterinarian coming in the herd, the same does the AI technician, the slaughterhouse does, the dairy company does. So we gather from a lot of different sources, and that enables us to estimate those breeding values. And we've been doing that for 40 years. We've been doing on those traits that are the highest important today: fertility, health, longevity. Yeah.
And all this data is available now to Jersey farmers in all countries around the world.
Yes, it is, and those data, well, it's available if you use our genetics. If you use bulls from VikingGenetics, and it can also be available on your females out there no matter where you come from, if you genomic test your animals in our system, then just of a sudden you'll get access to the same traits and information as what we have on ours.
What are some of the areas where Viking jerseys are breed leaders?
We're breed leaders in health and fertility, and we are on longevity as well. We are on butterfat production, so on a lot of the new traits we are breed leaders. And I'm sure that when we start to evaluate the genetic levels for feed efficiency, for greenhouse gas emissions, we will be breed leaders as well. But we can't document that today because we are forerunners and front runners in that area. But it'll come in other countries as well, and I'm sure we will show that we are there.
Mm-hmm. Now, another trend happening right now is crossbreeding, and I know that Jersey plays a role in at least one of the crossbreeding programs that you're involved with. What does Jersey bring to the mix in crossbreeding, and why is it a popular breed for crossing?
The reason for considering or including Jerseys in a crossbreeding program is mainly that the cows have become too big. So it'll normally be farmers working with other breeds where they realize that the very, very tall cows, very big cows, is not the most efficient. They are not the most healthy. They are not the most long-living. So combining a breed that in first generation, the F1 crosses will already be smaller and more healthy, more fertile. You can see that immediately. Mm-hmm. But we recommend that you use a rotational cross with 3 different breeds. And one of the main reasons for that is that if you do a zigzag cross with only 2 breeds, Jersey and another, then you will see a huge variation in the size of the cows. When you use 3 breeds, it levels out more. And then you still obtain quite a high level of heterosis. The extra you get when doing crossbreeding. Mm-hmm.
And what 3 breeds are good to combine with Jersey, or 2 other breeds combined with Jersey?
Well, normally you start crossing your Holsteins with Jerseys, but then to have another big breed, then the red breed will be excellent. So it can be different sorts of red. And here in Nordic countries, we have what we call Viking red, but Viking red is actually a merge of 3 different red breeds in Nordic countries.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. How do Jersey farmers around the world feel about crossbreeding? Are they excited? Are some what are the sort of different opinions about using Jerseys in crossbreeding?
I think most Jersey breeders around the world do not consider crossbreeding at all because they think they have the ideal breed for the future. So they are not considering that, but they might be telling the neighbor milking another breed that he should consider to use a little Jersey and make life easier.
Peter, when you look ahead into the future, what are some of the coming trends that Jersey farmers should be aware of?
They should be aware to set strategies and follow their goals. It's very important in future where I think most farmers will be challenged more on profitability, on the restrictions for environmental and others, and to optimize, you have to follow your goals and to be very clear in defining those goals. I think in the future most breeders will do genomic testing to give yourself better tools to select those that should breed next generation of cows in your herd. And you don't need all the cows to breed a next generation to have enough offspring to reproduce your herd or replace collared cows. you might only use or need 30 to 40% of your cows for that. So a strategy where you do genomic testing, get a better selection tool, find the 30 to 40% that should be mothers for next generation, and then use beef on the rest of the cows. That would be an optimal strategy, both speeding up genetic progress on those traits that you prioritize, but also profitability will be optimized in that sense because you will replace worthless Jersey bull calves with Jersey beef crosses having a higher value.
What about sexed semen? Because I saw numbers from 2020 and it was like 70% of all Jersey doses sold, around the world are sexed semen, significantly higher than other breeds we see where it's around 25%. Why is sexed semen an important tool for Jersey breeders?
Well, it is to replace the purebred Jersey bull calves. And when I before said that 30 to 40% were enough to replace animals or females in your herd, I mean that those are enough if you use sex semen. So you should use sex semen to breed next generation. And you could actually also use sex semen when you use beef, and that's coming more and more. We expect that 90% of the Jersey semen sold in Denmark and Nordic countries this year will be, or by the end of this year, will be sex Jersey semen. And we expect that approximately 25% of the beef semen will be sexed as well. And this is only for this year. I expect next year 50% of the beef semen sold for Jersey breeders will be sexed.
What else can I do to be set up for the future with a healthy and profitable Jersey herd?
I think you should have a look at the effects of different strategies. Give yourself the opportunity of checking whether what I'm doing today is the most profitable solution. We have a tool called SimHerd where we do simulations on different strategies in your herd. You can have a sex semen strategy, maybe only Jersey sex semen, maybe both Jersey sex semen and beef, and then try and make these different scenarios that will fit well under your conditions and make a simulation on what will the economic result be. How much sex semen should I use? What type of, what profile of bulls should I use? And what will the end result be? That's a very, very good tool to make use of when discussing future strategies and effects of that.
Are we going to continue to see a growth in numbers of Jersey cows around the world?
Of course. How could you place a question like that? Yes, of course we will. The Jersey breed is the breed of the future. When we get more documentation on safe feed efficiency, on greenhouse gas emissions, I'm sure that it'll show that the Jersey is a breed of the future. You don't need the world's largest cows to give you a good economic result in your herd. You can do with smaller cows.
So are the number of Jersey cows, is that going to continue to grow around the world?
Yes, definitely. And the reason for that is that the Jersey fit well in all types of production systems, under all types of management conditions around the world, no matter if you're producing conventional products or organic products, if you produce designed products for special customers like A2 milk or different, put emphasis on different traits, then the Jerseys fit well. But Jerseys also fit well when you prioritize profitability, health, sustainability. And I think it is the breed fitting the best. So I see a great future for the Jerseys.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Peter. Thanks for joining the BreedCast, produced by VikingGenetics. If you'd like more management tips on Jersey cows and more breeding tips, do visit the VikingGenetics website and social media. We have a Jersey area there. Thank you, Peter Larson, for sharing your knowledge and experience with us.
You're welcome.
Thank you, everyone out there, for listening. If you have an idea for a topic in cattle breeding you'd like us to focus on, please contact us at the VikingGenetics website or on our Facebook page. My name is Louise Rønn Svane. Please join me for the next BreedCast, where we'll talk about another current trend in cattle breeding, organic farming, and more particularly, how to avoid sick cows in your organic dairy business. Thank you.